The young and the hateful seems like an apt way to describe these racist-fueled hate protests on college campuses all over the U.S. that we've been watching lately. You see, these anti-Israel, anti-Jewish protesters are using the excuse of Israel waging war against a terrorist organization that slaughtered over 1,200 innocent people back on October 7th of last year. You see, to these agitators, these protesters, these radicals, it's not only bad for Israel to kill their enemies who want them dead, but in fact, Israel and all of their citizens are guilty simply for living in their own country. These rabid radical protesters are demanding that these schools cut ties with anything related to Israel, and to make sure they get their way are attempting to take over these college institutions and force their childish will on everyone else. And so they continue their march to insanity, revealing more and more of their internal hatred with each new passing day. Which then brings me to the leader of the Columbia University's anti-Israel encampment, a man known as Khymani James, who in the past was praised by mainstream media outlets for his radical ways during his high school era, which then shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that this useful idiot would only grow bolder with time. Anyway, for our story today, we're going to zoom in on a disciplinary hearing with Columbia University's administrators, where the troubled radical doubled down on his sentiment for his bloodlust, claiming that he fights to kill and that he carries that tool like he's in an open carry state. Wink, wink. He compared so-called Zionists to Hitler and called all Zionists white supremacists. But don't take my word for it, my friends. Here's the man speaking for himself.
My name is Sasha Lapedaway. I'm one of the associate directors in the Center for Student Success and Intervention.
I'm Khymani James. I use he, she, they pronouns. Zionists in my DM wanting to meet up and fight. I don't fight to injure or for there to be a winner or loser. I fight to kill. See y'all in New York, January 2024.
So that's specifically what we're going to be discussing today. Do you see why that's problematic in any way?
No.
Do you think that there's a serious weight in taking someone else's life?
I think there is a serious weight in taking someone's life. And at the same time, I think that taking someone's life in certain case scenarios is necessary and better for the overall world. And so I personally have never killed anyone. Thank the Lord that no one has put me in that position. Though when Hitler died, the world rejoiced. Everyone looks back at that time period and said that Hitler needed to die because he was exacting an immense amount of harm against the world. And so just like that, during the Haitian Revolution, their Haitian slaves had to kill their masters in order to gain their independence. These were masters who were white supremacists. What is a Zionist? A white supremacist. And so let's be very clear here. I'm not saying that I'm going to go out and start killing Zionists. What I'm saying is that if an individual who identifies as a Zionist threatens my physical safety in person, i.e. puts their hands on me, I am going to defend myself. And in that case scenario, it may come to a point where I don't know when to stop. There should not be Zionists anywhere. Zionists are Nazis. Okay, both of them have taken a break, everyone. So these are two black women. I just wanted to throw that out there. So I'm not too keen on going too, but yeah, these are two black women in the meeting, just in case y'all couldn't tell already. But these are two black women. The meeting's a joke. They definitely were hoping that I was gonna walk back the I fight to kill.
No problem.
A lot of people agree that Hitler needed to die in order for world order to move forward and in order to establish some inkling of world peace. And so if we can agree as a society, as a collective, that some persons need to die if they have an ideology that results in the death of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. If there are people like that who exist, shouldn't they die?
Now, according to an article by the Daily Wire, which covered the story, they wrote, "It is unclear what the result of this proceeding was." After publication of the story, a Columbia University spokesman indicated that there may have been disciplinary measures for his conduct. Although the spokesman said, while we do not comment on individual cases when there are violations of student conduct policies, they are reviewed and disciplinary measures are applied. Well, that's good to know. Now, the Daily Wire went on to point out that this wasn't his first time talking about something like this. James has also publicly posted his opposition to any two-state solution. The Daily Wire quoted him as saying there is no two-state solution. Palestinians need all their land back, full stop. Imagine someone coming into your house and forcing you to live in one room, and then someone offering that you both just split the house and share. Absolutely not. Free Palestine. Meaning, let's kick out all the Jews, which the only way that's ever going to happen is genocide. So, what are we talking about here, right? Now, it's fair to argue the merits of whether Israel should have ever been allowed to become a state, as it did back in 1948. But the reality is, we are almost 80 years apart from this time period. You've got multiple generations of people living in Israel that were born and raised there. It's never going to happen. Now, Khymani has also supported the terrorist attack on innocent civilians, saying, "Would you have condemned the Warsaw Ghetto for rising up against the Nazi occupation? Gaza, a literal open-air prison. Rising up against Israeli occupation is no different." And he also wrote that sometimes I can't believe Zionists have tricked the world into this much believing Zionism equals Judaism and anti-Zionism equals anti-Semitism. It's actually appalling. One of history's most egregious strawmans. But the Daily Wire also went to point out that James also went viral for leading a human chain of protesters to push pro-Israel students out of the encampment. "One step forward," James was seen shouting before the crowd repeated him in unison and stepped forward.
Forward. So that we can start to push them out of the camp. One step forward. Another step forward. We ask that you please respect our privacy and our community guidelines, which you have so far disrespected, and leave our camp. One step forward.
You guys don't have to do this, You're all here because we're here. Why are you giving us
We were here before you came here.
I understand that, but you're doing what
Repeat after me.
You're doing what you're doing.
I'm bored. We would like you to leave.
You just did that for me.
Repeat after me. I'm bored.
But don't worry, my friends, he's also a white-hating racist. He was called into a school committee meeting and was quoted as saying, "I too hate white people," while defending two members accused of anti-white racism. Now, James, trying to pretend he's not really that crazy, tried to pretend it was all just a mistake. Here was a tweet from our good friend, Khymani James, trying to defend himself on Twitter. "On Thursday, a video of me taken back in January began to circulate online. What I said was wrong. You don't say. Every member of our community deserves to feel safe without qualification." He also went on to say, "I also want people to have more context for my words, which I regret. Far-right agitators went through months of my social media feed until they found a clip that they edited without context. When I recorded it, I had been feeling unusually upset after an online mob targeted me because I am visibly queer and black." I hardly think that's the reason why you were targeted, but okay. Anyway, he goes on to say, "Unfortunately, this is not my first time being targeted by online trolls and harassed by people who use racist and homophobic slurs." And he uses some examples here. Then he says that the groups that he's involved with have made clear that his words in January prior to his involvement with the group are not in line with their community guidelines. You don't say. Anyway, he says, "I agree with their assessment. Those words do not represent them. They also do not represent me." Oh, sure. They don't, huh? Anyway, then he says, "Here's what I wish I'd said in the video that is circulating about me." And he goes, blah, 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 not me. Now, this is the beauty of Twitter. Community Notes is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I am a big fan. His post on Twitter has been community noted, and it says important context. In the video, Khymani makes anti-Semitic violent remarks and showed no remorse. And they quoted him as saying, "They were hoping I would take back the 'I fight to kill Zionists' comment, ha ha, and Zionists don't deserve to live, and I feel very comfortable calling for them to die." Oopsie doopsie, my friends. Oopsie doopsie. Now, of course, this poor soul is just another useful idiot who has been indoctrinated. Which doesn't excuse his behavior, and certainly shouldn't stop him from being put on some terror watch list, even though we know that the current captured folks running the terrorist watch lists are more likely to focus in on Christians and people who vote for Trump. But it is what it is. Anywho, this young buck was not alone in his madness. Let's watch a few clips of insane people saying insane things all across the U.S.
World today, biggest threat in the world today. Biggest threat in the world today. Biggest threat in the world today. There's only one solution. There's only one solution. Anti-violent revolution. Not another Nixon, not another Jones.
I swear, they really do love their rhymes, don't they? Ah, the chants. I feel special and stupid all at the same time.
Bring them home. They're never coming back home. Oh, really? That's great. That's what you're fighting for? People not being brought home.
There you go.
Yeah, keep trying.
How you doing?
Bring them home.
Oh,
Bring
my.
them home. This could have been done.
That seems like a little bit of hate, doesn't it?
October.
My, oh, my, oh, my. The lunatics really are everywhere, aren't they? Now, here's some good news, my friends. It does appear that adults have finally entered the room in some of these places. For example, in Ohio, law enforcement have now intervened to disperse protesters. According to reports, police moved in to clear these illegal encampments there, leading to confrontations. The university cited violations of rules, barring overnight events as the reason for the police action. A total of 36 individuals were arrested during this operation, including both students and people unaffiliated with the university. The charges included criminal trespass, among other allegations. And then we have the University of Florida, which I found hilarious. They gave their students an ultimatum, telling them the actions for noncompliance would be that they would be trespassed, with students receiving a 3-year trespass and suspension, while employees would be trespassed and fired. And like magic, the students chose to break down their little encampment themselves. Imagine that. And then, of course, in Georgia, 28 arrests were made as agitators were pushed out. And so the beat goes on. Now, I get it. People are entitled to their opinions. But you are not entitled to terrorizing others to show off your opinions, nor are you entitled to break the law. We'll leave it there. Anyway, my friends, as always, thanks for watching. I am Adrian from the To Be Frank Show. I'll see you all next time.